Okay. Well, this is the beginning of Peace Month. And who better to kick it off for us than Charlene Iboshi, because she's the peace person. Actually, when somebody says peace to me, I think of her. And then she volunteered Tim to help her. And I think of him when I think of restorative justice and peace. So Charlene had given a talk, I don't remember, it was one of the meetings I was at about the activities of the Peace Project that she's involved in. So I've asked her to join us. I've known Charlene for too many years as a prosecutor, and she retired, and I don't think that she slowed down. I think she just retired from a job and picked up other activities. But I'm very pleased to have her here with us today. So Charlene, I'm going to let you take it away.
Hey, thank you. Actually, I asked Tim to help because, as you know, he's in your club, and he is actually, he and I can do mutual heartbeats to keep everything going with peace. So it's not only one person, but it's everybody working together. And Tim and I have been working on the Peace Project for East Hawaii now a good 5 years. So we're preparing for this year and beyond. So Tim's going to explain the foundation for the peace concept, and so defining peace. Tim?
You know, lots of people, when they think about peace, they just think about world peace, global peace, like peace between nations. But we've really tried to emphasize that peace is really multi-level. It is about peace in the world, peace out there amongst nations, but it's also about peace around here, within our community, the Big Island community, within Hilo community, within your individual community and your neighbors. And probably most importantly, it's also about peace within yourself, in here. So are you at peace as an individual? Are you able to be peaceful in the world, in your community? And it's difficult to be a peaceful presence if you are not at peace within yourself. And then lastly, Charlene is loving to put in this piece everywhere post-pandemic. What has this year taught us? What have we been challenged with, and what is the gift in the midst of it in regards to exploring peacefulness?
And so as someone said, Benson had talked about Rotarians doing good. Well, or Rotarians doing good things. I think Rotarians are doing good things that make a difference to ourselves individually, as well as for our club, our community, and the world. And so we are building the Peace Initiative on this island and connecting with all the Rotarians throughout the world to actually come up with strategies that make a difference. So we're engaging, we're trying to educate and empower. So Tim and I found the video that's at the Rotary International link. So it explains it so well. So we decided to do a video, and you can get all of it all in one place. And as you can see, we're testing all our technical skills here.
I'm hoping that the volume is going to go as we do this. Let's see how it works. Are we hearing it?
We're hearing it.
Let's be honest. The world can seem scary. Violence, poverty, disease, corruption, pollution. The problems just seem too overwhelming, too big. You are just one person, right? Not if you are a Rotarian. You are part of a club, part of a district, part of an international network of 1.2 million Rotarians in 35,000 clubs in 200 nations. This makes you part of the largest and most impactful service organization in the world. As Rotarians, you have roughly the same human power as the world's most powerful militaries, but you are woven into the fabric of the community. Rotary as a global organization connects you with a network of passionate community leaders focused on positive change through service and the four-way test. Rotary's 6 areas of focus strengthen that network into a powerful force for peace. So, what if we started thinking about Rotary as more than a collection of service clubs, and just started thinking of ourselves as a global peace-building force. What if together we wage peace? Just imagine Rotarians building a world beyond war. But first, some background. Did you know that we are living in the most peaceful period in human history? Wars are less common and kill less people. Violence against women and children is the lowest in history. Homicides have decreased dramatically in much of the world. Genocide and other civilian killings are less prevalent. The number of democracies is increasing every year. People are living longer, healthier lives. Girls are getting a better education. And human rights are recognized in much of the world as a cornerstone of basic governance. The world is not falling apart as the media might lead us to believe. In fact, measurable trends support the emergence of a global peace system that today rivals the global war system. Trends that led to the development of international institutions like the United Nations aimed at preventing war. Trends about the protection of civilians. Trends proving nonviolence is more effective than armed resistance. Trends toward the proliferation of peace education. Trends favoring the economics of peace over the economics of war. And trends leading to the flourishing of international law, treaties, and courts. So what if we changed our mindset as Rotarians to match the current realities, the current science? News is, Rotary already set us up for success with the 6 areas of focus. When you build economic opportunity for communities, Rotary builds peace. When you provide education where education is not available, Rotary builds peace. When you provide clean water and sanitary conditions, Rotary builds peace. When you improve on the health of women and children, Rotary builds peace. When you prevent and treat disease, Rotary builds peace. And when you focus specifically on peace and conflict prevention and resolution as a cornerstone of your club's activities, Rotary directly builds peace. We are this close to ending polio, but what's next? For over 100 years, Rotarians have been advancing understanding, goodwill, and peace through their service work. Now, with the peace area of focus and network of over 1,000 Rotary Peace Fellows, we're ready to take it to the next level. Peace building is about community building. We're ready to train leaders, including youth, build peace to prevent immediate conflict. Convene people and resources to increase the peace-building impact of Rotary service projects in all areas of focus. Empower Rotarians everywhere to create sustainable peace building in communities and regions affected by conflict and war. You are a Rotarian. You build peace. This is your call to action. Start a peace committee in your club. Volunteer to be the peace chair for your district. It is a Rotary-supported position. Support the Rotary Peace Center by recruiting qualified candidates. You can lead your club to engage in at least one service project annually that promotes nonviolence or raises understanding of the root causes of violence. You can start by joining a Rotarian Action Group. Through the Rotarian Action Group for Peace Hub Map, you can connect with other Rotarians and peace committees. Tap into the expertise of our Global Peace Fellow alumni community through the new Peace Hub Map. So, the world isn't that scary after all, because peace is you, and you are Rotary. Go wage peace.
So you can see it's a simple video, but it captures all that we're trying to do on our island. And in fact, we've done pretty much all those things that are listed in that video. And your club has been really a good example of that in terms of peace through all the things that were listed. And as you can see, they talked about having, back then it was 6 focus areas. As of July 1st of last year, we now have 7, which is the environment. And so if you, and I'm not going to go through all of those, but they added environment. And so it ties in all the things that we're all interested in, making sure that our world is here for all our future generations. So next slide. Okay, so what we're trying to do is build this activity in the group. So we're connecting everybody through service projects. And I think Mary Nigeria and I had this conversation one time. Uh, is this service or is this a peace project? And actually, what I'm realizing is that we all want to do something. So whether or not you call it peace and peace through service or service through peace, it all is combined. So we're, especially now, when you look at what's happening with the world, you can see that we're not as in, we're, the numbers of domestic violence has gone up. You know, you've seen the riot that we had on the Capitol. So there's a reality here that the that we cannot expect that things stay the same. So we're at a crossroads where we have to take action to make sure that we can ensure peace. And so for us in Hawaii, I think one is we have aloha here. It's part of our constitution. So that we have to have the spirit of aloha. So we're trying to create our brand and create a lane for engagement. So world peace is not only ending wars, it's for, you know, thinking globally, acting locally, for me anyway. So so you can choose your area of focus, and you can do all if you want to. One is can be global, national, local, personal, everywhere. And I think that we tend to touch everything, and your club has demonstrated that. And what we also do is connect Rotary with other service organizations. And a good example is the Peace Corps and Rotary. And that was written up in the past couple of years that we should brand Rotary and Peace Corps. So I think we can demonstrate that, and we have done that from the beginning of our history in Hilo with Peace Corps. There was the immersion experience training in the 1950s and 60s at Hilo. And so you can see that 2 years ago in one of our annual workshops, we explained how we were trying to have write the history of the Peace Corps on this island and how it's still relevant to today. So and you can see there's a Rotarian Peter, and it's around here, it's local. The whole Peace Corps experience was actually grounded here for training. So we have a lot of history that goes from the past, and so it's around here in our community. And the other year we gave the Peace Corps alumni who are Rotarians a peace pin during Peace Week, Peace Corps Week. And one of our highlights is, and it's around here again, is our annual Kako workshop, which is let's work it out. And we reach out and we try to seek to understand others, as well as add more tools to our toolkit to promote peace, to have it so that we're at peace with each other, ourselves, in our relationships, in our community. And it's not perfect, but I think we've done it now 5 years, and we have planned our next Calco workshop, which is October 22nd. So we have it set, and that's our one action that we committed to all the East Hawaii Rotary clubs, that we would have an annual gathering so that we can talk about peace around here. And you can see that we have done this in person, and we've had a lot of success, and we have built partnerships with the University of Hawaii at Hilo and the community college to make sure that the students are involved so we can train our next generation. And so we've had it in person, we've had good results, as well as because of the pandemic, we've had to go virtual. So now it's everywhere. We are available everywhere. So what we're trying to do now, sorry. So I was going to share that through that relationship with the university and the International Students Association, we were able to do a lot of fellows and propose applicants for our district peace fellowship awardees. So Tim, can you explain that to everybody, since your club was very much involved?
Yeah, so Rotary International, as you know, awards a number of different scholarships and supports people to getting a graduate degree in peace studies or a peace studies certificate. There's a number of universities around the world that have programs. And so you all might remember that our club a couple years ago supported Nellie, who's from Papua New Guinea, as she was applying and hoping to become the recipient of that scholarship. She unfortunately was not awarded it, because it is very, very, very competitive. But in order for a student to move forward, they have to be supported by a local club and recommended. So our club, along with Charlene's club, helped to move Nellie's application forward. And I know both Charlene and I are actually still in touch with Nellie. She's working with a national group in Papua New Guinea on development and doing wonderful and amazing things. Last year, we supported Annika, who you might remember. She is currently teaching in an elementary school in Chuk. Annika is originally from Cameroon and is part of a teaching force in Chuk. And it was her connection to our club that brought us to collect supplies to ship to that elementary school in Chuk. So the bottom picture is of our boxes arriving at the school in Chuk, and they're opening it up and enjoying some of those school supplies. There are a number of other photos which I forwarded to Lorraine, and maybe we'll get a chance to take a look at those at another time. But the kids, even though they have masks on, you can still just see and sense the excitement that they have markers and paper and all of these wonderful supplies. I think we had a total of 24 boxes that got shipped over to Chuk and arrived right around Christmas time, actually. So that was a great peace connection as well through the scholarship efforts that we're making. And it's something that we hope to do every year in regards to promoting a student or somebody that wants to move forward in their advanced education around peace studies.
And so we are connected also to Kalika Kastain, and she's has connections to the Big Island, and she is a Peace Fellow. So we're very lucky to have her, and she presented in your club before. And I just wanted to put out this statement, which is, you've heard about the Chinese phrase that says, with each crisis is an opportunity. Well, we're at a critical moment. So without going into great detail, I would just say that we're at a critical moment. So if we want to maintain peace, and all the strides that were indicated, in the video, is we have to do something now to preserve peace, not only to promote it, preserve it through our actions and through our service, as well as making things, create an environment so we can come to a peaceful resolution when we have disputes. So as you can see, there are many ways to promote peace. You can be a practitioner, you can be an educator, you can be a mediator, and you can advocate. And many times avocation is what your club is doing, but supporting all the activities that the Peace Committee promotes. So good job. And I just wanted to share an example of how Rotary and the community pull together through disasters and crises. Rotarians are rapid to respond. You're first on the scene many times through your collective impact, and we connect right away. And so it's very strategic, and we want to make sure it's sustainable, whatever we do. So it's not just a one-off thing. We want to build on whatever crisis that we learn from, and then keep it and sustain it. And then we want to continue our resiliency. And we have a good example of that through the hurricanes with Ezel, with Lane, with earthquakes, with multiple lava events since 2014, and now with the COVID pandemic. And I think we were at a crossroads to show that if we can build the shelters at the Sacred Heart's property there in less than a month, and many times with the hands of Rotarians out in Pahoa who actually lost their homes, but they're out there building shelters for those who didn't have homes. And so then making sure that needs are covered. So we are a responsive group. We can respond to crisis. And crisis is everywhere here now in our community, as well as worldwide. So we need to make sure that Here's an example. I just want to show you that for the basic needs of food and shelter, we have emergency orders. And so it's clear that no one's going to be shut out just because you can't pay for your rent or shut down utilities. So there's an emergency order. For healthcare, and this ties into the 4-way test for Rotarians. And I know that we're going to run out of time. That's why I'm kind of speaking quickly. We have to realize that, is it beneficial to all concerned? And this is for healthcare, for making sure vaccines are distributed, for making sure our mental health is good. So this is all part of the Kuleana campaign. As far as information and legal responses, the information should be out there daily. I think Rotarians who are lawyers are ready to do many clinics to make sure that, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? And making sure that debt can be restructured so that everybody can benefit, not only the renter, but the landlord as well. And that's for you, Sharon. And our economic response, how we will build goodwill in the future. What we do now can make a difference to all levels in society. And I know that we're one of the biggest projects we have now that we're going to have completed this year is the Peace Pole project. And Tim, if you could explain that, but your club is very involved with that. And
Yep. So we've, as you all know, we've been taking on this effort to identify all peace poles here on the island, and want to give a shout out to Bob Jutner, who's been helping us find each of the poles and map them and get the geographical location pinned. And on February 15th, the Rotary Action Peace Committee is going to update their website so that we're now going to be able to have each of our poles on this island designated on a peace pole map that will be accessible through a website and hopefully also accessible through an app. We've identified 18 poles. There's a couple more poles that we're working on identifying and installing. And as we mentioned, the pole down by Hilo Bay Cafe to get that refurbished. And so our goal is to make sure that no pole gets lost or forgotten, and then to encourage people to go on a peace pole pilgrimage, to literally pull up that app or that website and to take a day and travel around the island and visit each of the peace poles that we have that have been established in various sites around the island. And they're everywhere from Hilo to Honoka'a, Waimea, across Kona, South Kona. I don't know that we have any in the Ka'u district yet, although there are a couple up in Volcano. So that's part of a big project that we're eager to get finished up as well. You can see here is a peace pole that we established at the Rotary Centennial Park. So great to see Irene in the center of that picture. One of the last times that she was sort of out and about and actively involved. And so this was a great group effort to install this peace pole. You can see a couple of others that have been installed, one in the West Hawaii Civic Center there. And again, the peace pole in the Rotary Centennial Park. And then down below is one of the newer peace poles that were established up in Volcano. And there's now been one down in Punakai shopping center down in Pahoa as well that's been set out.
But that's also installed during the pandemic. So I think people have to realize that Rotarians are tough. They go out there and they're making their statements.
Yeah. So that's our peace pole project.
And so part of it is also that we have to really start with ourselves. We have to have peace prevail in our own personal hearts so that we have the courage to take steps to during crises to take action. And so we ask that, and I know that your club has taken this step, which is to have individual peace pledges from your members. So we renewing our request that for those of you who have not done the peace pledge because you're new, to look at it and take the Rotary Peace Mediation Pledge, as well as for those of you who have pledged, you look at it again. and reaffirm that pledge, so that instead of going to court right away, try to resolve it through an alternative dispute method, so that everybody walks away with feeling the process was fair to all concerned.
So if we were meeting in person, this would be the moment when we would be distributing these to each of the tables for you to have a copy of. But maybe we can get them emailed out so everybody has their copy to remind them.
Yes, thank you. So again, post-pandemic, we're thriving through our efforts and your club's efforts especially. I wanted to share that I think your club really has exemplified peace in action. And so our goal is really to connect all the islands and Rotary International clubs with peace. And this would be peace through service and have an action strategy. So ag means agriculture. And so as we all know, we added the environment. And I think that part of the environment is actually supporting agriculture to be sustainable. And so this could be everywhere. Locally, our club is doing a project where we're planting ulu trees and other fruit trees at the shelters and do container gardening, as well as maybe raised gardens at the different shelters. So that's really acting locally, but it's also we can have international connections through international grants, through much of the work through the university is in other district grants. So as we all know, 2021 was supposed to be the district convention in Hilo, and it's still going to happen. We just don't know if it's going to be virtual, in person, or hybrid. But this is the moment that we have an opportunity to showcase what all the clubs on this island have been doing. And I think your club is a shining example of that. And all of you have participated in some way with engaging with the peace effort individually, or in your club, in the community through regular service, or internationally through the works with our like Chuk just recently in the past couple months. So I think part of our goal is really to connect with all service organizations and networks, not only Rotary. It's not enough. We have to really connect with all service groups. So part of it is really connecting with Rotary, with the Peace Corps alumni group, which we have 200 strong on this island. And there's many other groups that focus on UN goals. And I think we should join with them. And we should reduce the disparity and poverty. And there is a big effort right now that's funded through, and it's called because of ALICE, that's Asset Limited Income Constraint Employed. It's the working poor. And right now it's LSCU, which is asset limited, income constrained, or unemployed or underemployed. So we need to really pull together, because we have to think globally but act locally as well. And thriving starts where you and I and others join together, and then we start measuring outcomes. It's not enough to say we feel good about it. We have to do good. And do good is actually measuring what are the outcomes that we want to accomplish, and we accomplish them. So that was the call to action. And Tim, it's your club.
Well, I think, as you noted, Charlene, I think our club is doing amazing things, but it never hurts to take a few moments to think about, what are other things and ways that our club could be involved, that you personally could be involved in regards to changing the world, changing the community, and making a commitment, again, to foster that deeper peace within yourself, to be able to be that peaceful presence in the world. And so we're happy to take any questions or thoughts or reflections in just the last couple minutes that we have, as we're approaching the 8 o'clock hour.
And I'll put can I promote just one thing? There's going to be a sustainability conference coming up in the county. So I would recommend your club members join and participate, because your voices can be heard there. And that is part of peace, to be able to get your voices heard and make a difference with collective energy.
Part of research and through the research and development, the county office that Doug Adams is now heading up.
Yes, thank you.
So Sharon chatted, said you have an announcement. Is it related to this, or can we go with questions? It's related to this. Okay, go ahead, Sharon.
I just want to say that I'm just sick about what's happening in Myanmar. 4 years ago this week, there were 30 Rotarians from District 5000 and spouses. Al and I went um, to help in elementary schools in Myanmar, teaching the kids English, teaching them things like that, games. We were there in Myanmar and Taiwan for a little over a week. And it was this week, 4 years ago, that we left for Myanmar. And now you read in the paper all of the stuff that's happening there and what it's doing, to the people. That's probably some of them that we helped along the way. So it's just, it wasn't directly a peace thing. This was a global grant that we went on, but 30 Rotarians and family and people, spouses went on this. Trevor, Al, and I were the ones representing the Hilo Bay Club. And anyway, I just keep reading in the paper and it just hurts me so much to see what's happening there. Thanks.
You know, it would be
Thank you, Sharon.
wonderful if, Sharon, if you or someone could maybe reach out to the district folks that helped to make that trip happen, and maybe they could have some updates in regards to what's happening, because even with the political unrest, I'm sure that the little boys and girls are still enjoying the toilet facilities that you all helped to put forward. You know, that work that was done, I'm sure is still having an amazing impact, but it would be really good to get some kind of update in regards to the status of things in that country.
Yeah, Mark Marion was the one that was the leader of the group, and he's going to be the district governor in, I think, in 2 years. He's a past president of the Rotary Club of Honolulu. So I'll see if I can get in touch with him and see what we might be able to do.
He might be able to fill in as a speaker in one of our upcoming slots that Lorraine mentioned was empty. That would be great.
Okay.
And I can also share that Steve Yoshida has a connection to a UH student here that was a nurse that comes from Myanmar, and she wanted to go back and be an advocate for the kids, as well as having health and education out in the super rural areas. So that's another contact, and she's very much engaged internationally. So maybe we could, this could be an example of how even during crisis, you can still do something. You're not powerless, especially now with the world all connected. We can make a difference, and we don't have to feel like we can't do anything. You can see people can do peaceful protests. Sometimes it's suppressed, sometimes it's not, and there's boundaries everywhere. And so we're all finding a way to walk through this difficult time. And that's why I brought up the thing about opportunities through crisis. Because actually the Chinese word, maybe, is there someone who speaks Chinese here? Yuki-san, you know what they say, that statement about Weijie, or I don't know if I'm pronouncing it properly, it really means you're at a crisis and things are going awry. It's not like it's all, great. It's actually things are going nuts, awry. And so it's a negative term. But when JFK started talking about it, he really wanted to promote it as it's how you perceive it internally, what you do with the person next to you, and what do you do national way. So I think that we can take we are in a tough situation right now, not only with the pandemic, but all of these political crises everywhere. So now is our moment to reflect and figure out how we can help individually, as a club, nationally and internationally.
I just want to give one final thought. I know it's 8 o'clock, but I know in the past people have asked about donation suggestions for some of the CARES money that some of us have received that perhaps we can help pass on. And I just want to highlight the incredible work of Kuikahi Mediation Center right here in Hilo that looks after the east side and really helping to promote a lot of peaceful resolutions, whether it's through landlord tenant disputes or through civil and even sometimes criminal disputes. The other group would be the West Hawaii Mediation Center, which is doing a lot of the same work, of course, on the west side of the island. Those are two local organizations that I would highly recommend people considering giving donations to, and those donations can be processed through their website, Kuikahi Mediation, West Hawaii Mediation. Huge thanks to Charlene for joining us this morning. And with that, I think we need to hand it back to Lorraine.
Thank you. And I know Charlene's email, if you have questions for her. When she retired, she did not go undercover. Okay.